5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
They've landed.
You're in the right place. Online, on the web, and on air. All over the world.
Talk radio.
You hear us, we hear you.
For those who don't know about the KTPF, we started it back in 2007, and KTPF actually stands for Keeping the Paranormal Friendly. Dedicated to helping groups and investigators alike. Our mission was to try and bring the paranormal world together, share our findings and help move us all forward. Encouraging you to share information, advice and most importantly friendship. Remember, collaboration, not competition. You're listening to the all-new KTPF show live on Spooky Radio, keeping the paranormal friendly, where membership is just a smiling face. Excuse the husband, coughing in the background. As with our, although concentrating more on the investigating side of the paranormal, this show will be incorporating a wide spectrum of this fascinating subject with a live interactive chat room. With interviews from special guests within most areas of the chosen field, to team members promoting their own groups and sharing their experiences. As with our Paranormal Community Forum over on the website at ktpf.co.uk, we invite you to engage in live, friendly discussions involving a variety of topics from cryptozoology to UFOs. So if you have any questions, you can chat using the chat room. Steve's monitoring that at the moment. And we will ask our guests for you any questions that you may have. Unless they are here, live in the hub, where you will be able to call in and ask them yourself. All this and more, plus paranormal events for you with the rundown of the latest events from around the UK. And remember, if you have any spare tickets for any event this Saturday or a special event, then please email us before the show and we will give you a mention. Just like Wigan Paranormal did. They're hosting a night of psychic fun at the Bellingham Hotel in Wigan on Friday the 13th of April from 6 p.m. till 2 a.m. in aid of Dorian House Children's Hospice. The evening includes private readings, Reiki, angel cards, tea leaf reading and tarot. There's also a full demonstration from the wonderful medium Howard Davison between 7:30 and 9 p.m. Following this, there's a hot supper and another chance to have a private reading. Then at 11 till 2, they are conducting a ghost hunt within the Bellingham Hotel itself, with which is renowned for its many ghosts. You will also be placed with a medium and be able to use all their equipment as part of the event. Tickets are now available, starting at £15 for the psychic supper and £22 for the psychic supper and ghost hunt. There are only 20 places for the ghost hunt, so you should book early. You can get these tickets by going to wiganparanormal.co.uk, the reception of the Bellingham Hotel, or contact Nicola Johnson on 07748 834 753. And again, we mentioned this last week, but we're off to Bran Castle next month in Romania. We have a couple of spaces left if anybody would like to go. It's on the 28th of April, and you can find out more from our website at shadowseekers.co.uk. Please note that flights and accommodation are not included. Okay, so on with the show. How are we doing for time? Not too bad.
I'm doing good. Doing good.
Well, all of you out there in cyberspace, I'm hoping that you're on the chat room. Okay, and very shortly we'll be having our first guest of the night. I'll be contacting him in a moment, but firstly I just want to let you know what's on tonight. Later on in the show we will have Paul Reid, who will be telling us more about the largest paranormal event of 2012, which is Battlefield Paranormal. And our first guest, who will be calling soon, is none other than Richard Freeman, one of Britain's fewest cryptozoologists, who will be talking live from the Centre for 14 Zoology, I hope I said that right, about his latest books and adventures. But seeing as we've got a bit of time before I call him, we'll hand over to Steve, and he'll be giving us the paranormal news.
Firstly, a report from the Bristol Press. Members of a supernatural investigation group say they are convinced there is paranormal activity on Clevedon's Victoria Pier after spending the night there. Bristol and UK Supernatural, BUS for short, was formed in August last year, carried out a number of experiments on the Grade 1 listed pier. 5 of the members began a sweep of the site using an electronic voice phenomena, EVP, that captures electronically generated noises, and after several minutes the words Doctor, Jimmy and Balloon emerged. After studying the pier, investigators found a plaque underneath a balloon-shaped light which was in the memory of a doctor named James. Whether the find is linked to the noises has yet to be confirmed. A spokesman for BUS said, "We can confirm there is a presence here, but I believe it to be residual and it is therefore not a haunting spirit." To gain further evidence, the group used EMF meter, which measures electromagnetic fields, to help identify the location of spirit energy. The group's equipment include an ultraviolet laser, which illuminates spirit, by which I think they mean a ghost pen, a motion sensor which tracks unseen movements, 4 night vision cameras, a camcorder and an infrared filter. And now from the press in Oxfordshire, assistance is required. With its rich history as a place of birth and death of thousands of Oxfordshire patients, many will have stories to tell about the old Ratcliffe Infirmary. 2 former workers are hunting for your spooky recollections of the imposing 17th century building in the Woodstock Road. For more than 200 years, the hospital, which covered a huge site between Woodstock Road and Walton Street, served the patients of Oxfordshire. The city's first hospital, the RI opened in 1770 and quickly became an Oxford landmark. If you have any spooky recollections of the Radcliffe Infirmary, call Amanda Williams on 01865 425 426. Thank you for your help. Off to Wales for this one. Shop owners and hotel staff say they have witnessed ghostly apparitions and poltergeist activity at 2 adjoining buildings in the Conway Valley. Both the Anna Davis Country Wear store and the neighbouring Royal Oak Hotel in Bexley Co-Ed are being haunted by a cloaked lady, a nun, and ghostly shadows say spook staff. Reports of strange goings-on date back to the 1960s, but just before Christmas, Pete Ward, who runs the store in Holyhead Road with his wife Sarah, claims he had a shoe thrown at him on the first floor, launched from a display stand. It was about 8:30 p.m. I was working late by myself and came upstairs to the first floor, he said. I got to the top step and saw a shoe come towards me from the stand. It landed right in front of me. I just picked up the shoe. I tried to have a conversation with the ghost, he said. There is no need for that. Pete added, I've always felt something up here. I've often felt something behind me at the till. Pete's mum has also had a boot thrown at her in that area of the shop.
Well, that was the paranormal news. There was some error in one of the one of them reports. Something to do with an EMF meter and an EVP.
No, the press didn't seem to know what EVP was.
Oh, right.
But we'll let them off.
Okay, so don't forget, you in the chat rooms, if there's any questions that you need to ask for our first guest, please feel free to type away, and we will relay any questions to Richard when he's on the show. So I'm going to call him now. Hopefully he's ready to speak to us. This is where the technology of live radio broadcasting comes in. If I can remember what the number is. I did have it on redial. 2 seconds.
It's on that small pad there.
Oh, it's okay. I've got it here somewhere. Here we go. Let's see if we can get hold of him. Hi, can I speak to Richard Freeman, please? Hi, hold the line, I'll just put you live on the air. Good evening, Richard.
Good evening.
How are you?
I'm fine, yourself?
Not too bad.
I need to turn the music down a little bit, babe.
Okay, make sure we can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, can everyone hear him okay in the chat room? I can hear you, so... So, Richard Freeman, you are one of the fewest cryptozoologists in Britain.
Yes, yeah. We at the Centre for Fortean Zoology are the only full-time cryptozoologists in Britain, and as far as I know, we're the only full-time cryptozoologists in the world.
Right.
As a hobby, this is our calling, if you will, our vocation.
Right, so what is cryptozoology and what role do you actually play in this field?
Well, cryptozoology is the study of animals that are unknown to science. It literally means hidden zoology. So these things could be animals like the Yeti of Tibet and the Himalayas, sea serpents and so on. But it also encompasses things that we think are extinct but may still be around. Things like the Tasmanian wolf is a good example of that. And also animals that have grown far larger than the textbooks say they should, like the giant anaconda of South America and so on. But the list is quite a long one of these creatures that are as yet unknown to science or in some way strange.
Right. Okay. Did you get that? Was that okay?
Yes,
I think everyone's hearing you fine.
Everybody got that
good.
nicely.
Right, okay. So,
Hi, Richard. I'm Steve.
can you hear Steve?
Oh, just about. Very. Sounds like he's down a well 10 miles away.
Right, okay. He's just across the room, unfortunately.
In that case, I'll let you ask the question.
Oh, thanks. Okay. What was the next question? 2 seconds. Right. These are the questions we've got here for you so far.
Yeah.
Of all the places you've been to, which one made the biggest impression, and what was you looking for?
Oh, that was Mongolia. I was searching for the Mongolian death worm in the Gobi Desert, and the Mongolian death worm is a burrowing creature that the nomads, the Mongol nomads, hold in great fear. They call it Alroy Hoi Hoi, or the intestine worm, because they say it looks like a great length of cow's intestine, and they believe it can spit a corrosive yellow saliva. And I went through the desert for about 1,000 miles in search of this creature, talking to many witnesses, and they were all describing the same creature, a sort of scaly, salami-shaped beast that lies in the desert. And usually when they see it, the whole communities will go into a panic. Sometimes they'll move all their livestock out of the way, and they'll pack up their gers, which are the circular tents that they have, and the whole community will move in fear of this animal. I don't think it's a worm at all. I think it's some sort of reptile, a burrowing reptile. There are a group of reptiles called amphisbaenids, or worm lizards, which are sort of worm-shaped lizards that burrow. Well, they're not true lizards at all. They're related to both lizards and snakes, but they're in a little group of their own. And they burrow underneath the earth. And I think this is a very large, unknown species of worm lizard. But Mongolia itself, the Gobi Desert, is amazing. Some of it looks like the surface of Mars. Some of it is so shiny and reflective, it's like a huge mirror. Other parts look like Mordor from Lord of the Rings. It's amazing. We were caught in a whirlwind there, a great desert twister. We explored caves made out of ice in a frozen river. It was absolutely astounding. It's the closest thing to being on an alien planet I've ever seen. It was amazing.
I bet it was. I've been looking at some of the YouTube stuff and some of the programs of late that's been put out on the television shows, like Monster Hunter. I believe that's the sort of thing you are at the moment.
Yes, I travel to all these places searching for these unknown creatures. It's what I do, and we make our own films about them, and we put them all on the Centre for Fortean Zoology website.
Yes, I see you've also got something on YouTube, haven't you, with certain programs that you've put on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found that the other day. But there's been a lot of animals that have been discovered. I believe even the silverback gorilla was once, years and years ago, something that was not believed to be actually...
Absolutely, yes.
Something that was actually in existence. Was it the people of that area?
Yeah, the African natives used to talk about a hairy giant that lived in the mountains, and the Western explorers didn't believe them until the middle of the 19th century, when the first gorilla was shot. And then the mounted gorilla, the even larger mountain gorilla, that was unknown until the turn of the last century. I think it was 1904. And there's an analogue here with the Yeti. And I've looked for the Yeti in northern India, and the witnesses describe it as looking like a huge gorilla, but walking upright, covered in black hair, having a very gorilla-like face, and I've seen its tracks. So the Yeti, for example, is some form of huge ape, possibly a surviving form of Gigantopithecus blacki, an immense ape related to the orangutans that we know from its fossil jawbones and teeth, and that lived in the same areas where the Yeti is being reported today. I spoke to many witnesses in northern India about the Yeti, or Mandate Barong as they call it there. That's the local name for it.
Yes, I believe, is it true that there's many different types of Yetis? Species?
Well, in Asia there seems to be 3 distinct types of Yeti. There's a very large one that's about 3 meters tall that has black or dark brown fur, and it walks erect. And this is the one that is reported from northern India, but it's also reported from Tibet and places like that. Then there's a more man-sized one, which moves, that has dark brown or gingerish fur, and that moves on 2 legs, but sometimes will lope along on all 4s. That might be a mainland species of orangutan. And then there's a much smaller one, once again dark-furred, but walking upright. The Yeti isn't white. Forget you ever heard that. That's a complete myth. There's never been a report of a white Yeti. But this smaller one may be related to the orang pendek, which is another animal that I've been searching for. I've done four. I've done 4 expeditions to Sumatra, which is a large island in Indonesia, in search of the orang pendek, which is an upright walking ape, about 4 to 5 feet tall, but very powerfully built, very broad and muscular, and reported from the jungles of western Sumatra. And I've seen the tracks of this thing. I've heard it calling. One of my colleagues has actually seen it climbing down from a tree and walking off on its hind legs like a man. And I've worked with all the known apes. I used to be a zookeeper at one time, and I recognise apes' tracks, and the tracks of the orang pendek are completely distinct from any known ape.
Interesting. We've got a question on the chat room for you, so please bear with me before you answer, because I'll have to put you back towards the mic. Paul says he's seen a skull and hand in Naples Temple, and its hair was orange. Do you know anything about this?
He's seen a skull in a temple in Nepal.
a Nepal temple.
Sorry, the what temple?
There's a temple in Nepal.
Yeah.
And he's seen a skull and a hand.
That's supposed to be a Yeti.
That's supposed to be a Yeti.
Yeah, the hand is human. The hand,
Right.
they examined some of the bones from it, and it was found to be from a human hand. The scalp is actually made from the hide of a mountain antelope. So they're not real Yeti icons. But
Right.
the thing is, the scalp was not meant to be taken from a real Yeti. It was originally worn by the monks when they were doing rituals to represent the Yeti. The hand itself is human, and there are several cases of this happening, of bits of what are supposed to be Yetis kept in monasteries, and they're so old nobody knows where they originally came from, and they're called Yeti remains, but so far they've all turned out to be human or of a known animal. But we do have hair from from the Chinese Yeti, the Yoren, and that's been examined by laboratories in the USA, China, and in England, and they conclude that it's from an unknown primate. Also, the orang pendek, we've brought orang pendek hair back, and it's been examined by Lars Thomas at the University of Copenhagen, and he says he was forced to conclude that it's from a large unknown primate.
Right, he was saying, it's alright, I have to keep going on to Steve's computer to see what it says, but it says something about the Annapurna Trail it was found on or something?
It was on the Annapurna Trail.
On the Annapurna Trail?
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Right, okay, so that's that's cleared that one up.
Said he's going to ask for his 10 rupees back.
He says he's going to ask for his 10 rupees back. Okay, so one thing I wanted to ask you, I put it on your Facebook earlier actually. Dinosaurs.
Yeah.
The I can't remember what it was. The Makeli Mbemba or something.
Makeli Mbemba.
Yes. Are there actually still dinosaurs around?
There are plenty of dinosaurs in the world. Have you ever eaten chicken?
Pardon?
Have you ever eaten a chicken?
Yes.
Then you've eaten a dinosaur.
All right.
Birds are dinosaurs. Birds are feathered dinosaurs. But if you mean big, scaly dinosaurs like Tyrannosaurus rex and Triceratops and so forth, no, they are sadly all extinct.
I originally saw something earlier on today, a programme, and they were saying a Brontosaurus. Now, I've always assumed that, well, we assume that is a veggie eater.
A Apatosaurus, to give it its correct name, was a herbivore, yes.
Right.
It lived in water, it lived on dry land, surrounded herds like elephants. It's been extinct since the Jurassic period. The Apatosaurus went extinct a long time before the end of the age of the dinosaurs. This thing in the Congo, Makeli Mbemba, I think it exists. People are seeing some large animal, and they describe it as having this long neck and a long tail, and it uses its tail to lash at canoes that come too close to it.
Right.
What I think people are seeing is not a dinosaur, but a giant species of monitor lizard. And monitor lizards are the largest of all the lizards. The biggest known one that's alive today is the Komodo dragon, growing to 3 meters long, 10 feet. There was a much bigger one in Australia called Megalania prisca, which may have been as much as 30 feet long, and that only became extinct fairly recently. There are rumours that it's still around, or something related to it is still around in the outback of Australia and the jungles of New Guinea. And I think that the Makeli Mbemba, if it exists, is more likely to be a large semi-aquatic lizard than a dinosaur. These long-necked sauropod dinosaurs, they didn't live in water anyway, in swamps and lakes. They lived on land like elephants.
Well, there's been a lot of species that have actually been mentioned by the people in Africa, you know, the Congo and everything else. Look at the giraffe. that was once a mysterious creature, and we've got it now. It
was, and the okapi, which is a short-necked relative of the giraffes, that was thought of as a myth when the pygmies used to tell Westerners there's a creature that resembles a cross between a zebra and a giraffe. They laughed at them, but it turned out to be this short-necked species of jungle-dwelling giraffe, and its closest relatives are known from fossils in the Middle East that are something like 15 million years old. So this thing survived.
Yeah.
And it was totally unknown until, once again, the turn of the last century.
Yeah, it's quite a fascinating subject. We've got another question for you from Para Projects. I think it might be Jebby. I'm asking Richard Freeman on the phone for you. Does the speaker, because he forgot your name, think that there are any links between what we know as the Yeti, etc., and the... Oh, God, I've got to try and pronounce this. I hope you can understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The Gigantopithecus.
The Gigantopithecus. Yes, I mentioned
Fossil.
it earlier, if you remember.
Yeah.
Gigantopithecus black-eye. It's the biggest ape that ever lived. It would have been about 10 feet tall.
Apparently there was a fossil discovered in China?
Yes, yeah. They've been discovered in China, India and Vietnam, these fossils. It's mainly known from teeth and a few jaw bones, so we've not been able to reconstruct the whole animal, but the shape of the jaw would suggest that it was a biped. It stood upright like a man rather than moving along on all fours. If the rest of it was built on the same massive scale as the jaw bones and the teeth, it would have been around 10 feet tall. So where we find these fossils, like India and China, they're some of the places where the Yeti is reported from today. And the fossils were found alongside fossils of other animals like elephants, rhinos, tigers, pandas, things that are still alive today. Mm-hmm. There's no good reason why Gigantopithecus shouldn't still be around in remote areas.
No, and obviously, what's your theory on the Loch Ness Monster?
It's not a plesiosaurus, for a start. That's a non-starter. It's more likely to be Elvis in a rubber suit. Most of the sightings are explicable by things like seals, which get into the loch, unusual wave formations, water birds, floating logs. I mean, there's an undercurrent in Loch Ness which can pull logs against the wind, so it looks as if they're swimming against the wind.
Yeah.
Most of the sightings are explicable by that. But there is a hard core of sightings that are a bit harder to explain. I think they involve some sort of gigantic eel. I think that a lot of these stories of monsters in lakes are down to huge eels. We know that the European eel lives in fresh water, swims out to the Sargasso Sea to breed, and then dies. And the babies, the Leptocephalus, the little tiny babies, they follow ancestral trails back to the fresh water. But occasionally you get something called a eunuch eel, which is a sterile eel that doesn't have the impetus to go out to sea to breathe, and it stays in fresh water getting bigger and bigger, older and older. Nobody really knows how big they can get. But I think some of the sightings of lake monsters are based on very large eels. Yeah,
so Jebby's just come back and said possibly a sturgeon?
Yeah, sturgeon, the big catfish. I investigated a case, back in the... I think it was 2002 now, in Martin Mere in Lancashire, where something that was quoted as being as big as a car was attacking full-grown swans on a nature reserve, a lake in a nature reserve. It turned out to be an enormous catfish, and I saw it, and it was about 8 feet long.
Right.
Old catfish.
Has there been any land sightings or something?
Sorry?
Has there been any land sightings around the area?
Of lake monsters, yes. Yeah, there have been sightings of lake monsters slithering along on land, quite a few.
Right. Okay, the other question we wanted to ask, of all the creatures that are supposed to be out there, which would you like to find?
Oh, the Tasmanian wolf, or thylacine. That's a flesh-eating marsupial. It resembles a wolf or a dog due to convergent evolution. That's where two unrelated species, often on opposite sides of the world, will evolve to look like each other because they're fulfilling a similar ecological niche. This creature, which is the symbol of the Centre for Fortean Zoology, this creature was thought to have been hunted into extinction in the 1930s, but it's been called the healthiest extinct animal you'll ever meet because it's, as well as multiple sightings since the 30s up to the current day, it's been seen by a zoologist, it's been seen by a park ranger, and there's also a couple of very convincing sequences of film of it. And that's the one that I really want to go and search for and find.
It must be a fascinating feeling when you find these creatures.
It's certainly exciting, yes, but I just wish I had more funding to do it with.
Yeah, that's
the end of the day. It's all down to the folding green stuff.
Yeah.
And if we had more funding, we could do more expeditions. We could spend much longer out in the field looking for these things. Like, for instance, with the orang pendek, jungles we're searching in, and they're in a place called Kerinci Sablat National Park, and the park itself is the size of a small country. It's about the size of Montenegro, and we've only penetrated the edges of it.
Right, and before we go on to your latest books, I've got one more question here. Have you got an opinion on the black cat sightings in the UK?
Oh, there are big cats in the UK. There's no doubt about that. I've seen one myself. I've seen a puma on the outskirts of Exeter. They have been living and breeding in Britain for quite some time. I mean, up until the mid-70s, you could buy, if you had money, you could buy any animal you wanted until they brought in the Dangerous Wild Animals Act.
Yeah. And
any old duffer could start a zoo in their backyard. There's no no law to say that you couldn't. And when the laws changed, made it harder for people to have exotic pets or start their own zoos, a lot of these things were just released. And what we're seeing now are the descendants of these, because they bred. They were released in reasonable numbers, and they've bred, and now they've replaced things like the wolf and the bear and the wolverine and the lynx, which we used to have, and we hunted into extinction. They've replaced them as the top of the food chain, the top predator in Britain.
Right, I must admit, I do like the black cats, I must admit. And I've always had that theory that when that law came in, apparently you couldn't have them over 2 years of age or something. So I think basically, from what I recall, I think they did actually just let them go into the wild because nobody could have them. Dangerous Wild Animals Act. Yeah. So, right, so you've got a couple of books out.
Yeah.
Would you like to tell us about them, please?
Yeah, well, one of them is called Orang Pendek, Sumatra's Forgotten Ape, and it's about my 4 expeditions to Sumatra in search of this upright walking, powerfully built ape, completely unknown to science. Mm-hmm. And not only does it tell you about my own experiences, it looks into the history of the orang pendek and sightings going back as far as colonial times, and then it goes on to look at similar creatures around the world, reports of these smaller, hairy, man-like or ape-like creatures, and it does a sort of tour of the world, looking at them in different countries and different cultures, and then finally it has a stab at explaining what they are. And it's the first book of its kind to be written. It's the first and only book specifically on the orang pendek.
Wow.
And that's available from Amazon.
We were calling you Dr. Freeman.
Yeah.
Dr. Richard Freeman.
Very flat.
I apologise for that, but you said go and check the review.
yeah. And then, that's available either from the CFZ website or from Amazon. You can pick that up. My other latest book is fiction. It's my first published anthology of horror stories. I've written. It's called Green Unpleasant Land, also available from Amazon or through the CFZ website. And it's my own collection of horror stories written by me, all set in Britain, hence the name Green Unpleasant Land. And it's my sort of kicking back at things like Twilight and Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Vampire Diaries and all these dreadful things that people are trying to pass off as horror these days. Now, I'm a great horror fan. I grew up with Hammer horror and classic Doctor Who. I love horror, and horror should be dark and strange and weird. It shouldn't be about pretty teenage vampires. So in my book, I take bits of strange British folklore and write stories about them. Things like dragons and the earth hounds, which are burrowing rodents that are supposed to claw and gnaw their way into caskets in Scottish graveyards and eat the corpses, and goblin-like little people on the Cornish moors, and all sorts of very weird and wonderful things that you don't find in other horror stories.
I'll have to look out for them and see whether I can get a copy. Now, a couple of more things I wanted to ask you before you go. Going back to I think it's the black cats. Jebby would like to know, how do we get the authorities to acknowledge the fact that they're actually there?
Well, there was a few years ago. There was a big search on Bodmin Moor, and they never found anything. And they were saying, "Oh God, we haven't found anything. That they can't be there," which is pretty absurd. I mean, when people went out to film snow leopards for the first time, I think it was 6 or 7 years, they were in the Himalayas before they caught snow leopards on film. I think it's going to be hard to get them to acknowledge that they're there, because even when they're caught, nobody seems to do anything. There was one puma caught in Scotland in 1980 by a farmer called Ted Noble. He caught it alive in a humane trap, and it lived the rest of its days in the Highland Wildlife Park, and they named it Felicity. We had the lynx, Lara the lynx, that was caught in Cricklewood of all places, and she's now living in a zoo in France. But we know they're there. They've been captured, and it seems strange that the authorities aren't saying, "Well, yes, they're there," because we know they're there. We've caught them. I think they might acknowledge the odd one or two. I think what they don't want to acknowledge is that there's a breeding population, which there obviously is, because you don't get 1 or 2 cats living for 40 odd years. You're going to get to carry on the sightings. There needs to be a breeding population.
Yeah. Jebby says absence of evidence is not evidence of absence.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen one of these things. I used to be a zookeeper. I know what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
And I think also, if they acknowledge that they're there, they're going to have to do something about it, and they don't want to waste resources on it.
Right. Well, if you go on our KTPF website, ladies and gentlemen, Richard has been very kindly sending us some bits and pieces over. He's got his own little forum on there. So he does send us a few things over now and again. But before you go, Richard, could you please give us an insight on an event that's happening later on in the year? Weird Weekend 2012, I believe it is.
Yes. It's the 3rd weekend in August, and it's a Fortean convention. Apart from the Fortean Times Lund convention, it's the biggest convention of its type in Britain, and it's been running now for over 12 years. And it's in Wolverine, which is a small village near Bideford in North Devon. 3rd weekend in August, the Friday night, all day Saturday, all day Sunday. And we have speakers from various subjects. The lion's share of it is cryptozoology, monster hunting, but there are the ufologists there. You get people talking about other aspects of the paranormal as well, and we have stalls, and we have quizzes, and we have shows, and the whole thing is a wonderful weekend. If you're a Fortean, or if you're in any way interested in the paranormal or the bizarre, make a beeline for there. It's £25 for the weekend, which for in this day and age for a 3-day conference is pretty good value. I can never remember the lineup of speakers because there's so many of them. I know one of the people we've got is Lars Thomas, who's coming over from Denmark to talk about Scandinavian cryptozoology. But we've had people from all over the world. We've had lecturers from Russia, America, Australia, talking about all sorts of strange subjects. So if you're interested in the paranormal, don't miss it.
Right, and where can they find out more about this?
You can find out more on the Centre for Fortean Zoology website, which is www.cfz.org.uk.
That's great. I've been asked to ask you if you've got any jobs going.
Good Lord. Well, we're always looking for volunteers.
You're always looking at volunteers?
Always looking for volunteers.
Peter, Birmingham, PA, said there's a big cat in the Breaker Beacons, but I think they're basically nationwide, aren't they?
Yeah.
So.
Like Frank Boff.
Does he know of one on Marsden Moor?
And do you know of any on Marsden Moor?
Marsden Moor? Where is Marsden Moor?
It's up in Yorkshire. It's where they had the Civil War that lasted about a couple of days.
Yes, I used to live in Yorkshire. I'm familiar with Ilkley Moor, Yeah, but there are stacks in Yorkshire. There's stacks of these things reported in Yorkshire. I'd be amazed if there wasn't.
Right, it's just that we're doing a big paranormal event up there later on in the year, so I just want to make sure that apart from the spirits that we might encounter and the guys that are actually dressing up, the reenactors, so I might get confused with them, I don't really want to be surprised by a cat or a weird cryptozoology creature, not without being pre-warned.
Well, they're probably out there, but you'd be lucky to see one. They'd probably hear you coming and leg it long before you got there. No one's been attacked by one of these things in Britain. There have been some very unconvincing stories about people being attacked by big cats, but when you look at the evidence, it all falls apart. I mean, I'm not going to name names here, but I've seen a couple of people have been showing off their wounds made by a big cat, and I'm thinking, no, if a panther clawed you, you'd be much more badly mauled than that.
Yeah.
It's just attention seekers, really.
Well, this is it. Well, thank you very much for speaking to us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
And we hope to speak to you again. Please keep us informed in all your adventures.
Will do.
And also give my best to John, who I spoke to earlier, and I hope he got the email okay.
Yeah, fantastic.
I hope to speak to you again soon.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Richard. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, what did you think to that? A little bit of an insight of cryptozoology, and if you think about it, some of the stuff that we didn't ever think would be in our world, for all of the better place to say, you know, like giraffes, as we said earlier, and big apes. It's just fantastic. So you never know, something might come across later on in the future that African tribes have been going on about for years, just like the big apes. So I hope you enjoyed that. Okay, so please remember, we are always open to discuss any specific area of this genre, including ghosts, monsters, psychic phenomena, or other supernatural and unexplained mysteries. We'd love to know more about you, your team, and how long you've been interested in the paranormal. Okay, remember this is your show, so get involved. Alright, this is what it's all about. It's just keeping the paranormal friendly is what it's all about. We've got Paul Reid coming up later on, telling us about that fantastic event that I just mentioned at Marsden Moor. And I just wanted to say that please give us a call. We're opening the lines up in a bit, so hopefully we'll hear from you, and you can tell us a bit about yourself. I just want to play a video for you that we found on YouTube. So if you fancy giving us a bit of a discussion on this, if you'd like to look carefully and tell me what you think, alright? It's entitled Ghost of the Queen Mary. So I'll show you the video, and then I'll explain a bit after that, and then we'll see what you think. So give me 2 seconds, and hopefully we won't hear from our sponsors this week. We'll try this and see how we go. So what did you think to that? We'd like to hear your opinion. Steve's going to come on in a minute and tell you a bit about it. Okay, so and then after this we'll be speaking to Paul. So if you want to just give us a call and tell me what you think, or tell us what you think on the chat room. Steve's going to tell you about it and what you found out about it. Over to you, Steve.
There we go. Well, apparently there's been a lot of stories. One being that the camera was accidentally forgotten and left behind. But the true story, as it seems, is that the gentleman put it down and left it running while he went for a cigarette, and was astonished to find all those images. It seems Neil seems it's said it looks fake. Was anybody else's feelings on that?
Yeah, what is your feelings on that one? Right, what I'm going to do is, while you're considering that, I'm going to give Paul a ring, or Paul can give me a ring. It's entirely up to him. We'll speak to Paul about Batterville Paranormal, and then after that we'll tell you about the paranormal events for you, and we'll re-mention again the one from Wigan Paranormal in case late viewers came in and missed it. So what I'll do is, he can't ring. Can I ring you though, Paul? As long as I can ring you, that's all that matters.
Yes.
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 Now, I've just about to make sure I've still got your number. 2 seconds, let me just find it. Call list. Dialed calls. Let's make sure it's still on here. 01204 481. Does that sound right? Oh, you're going to tell me.
There you go, let's put it up for you.
Okay. Where's my books gone? Where'd you put my books? On the down there. Hello? Hello? No swearing. I'm about to put you live on air. Okay, give me 2 seconds.
Yes, we are live, not on Channel 4.
Yeah, we are live, not on Channel 4.
Oh, that's a shame.
Right, okay. Did Richard come over okay, by the way?
Oh yeah, it came over really good.
Oh, that's good then.
Really enjoyable.
Good, that's what we want.
Yeah, I wanted to ask him if werewolves drag the bums on the carpet.
Oh dear. I don't know. Well, he's on Facebook if you want to ask him.
He probably hit me.
Okay, well, this is Paul Reid, mine host. That's the best way to call him, because he deals with spooky radio. Can you tell us a bit about yourself first, Paul?
Well, basically, I was sort of like, I had a partner who passed away a few years ago, and I think I was just like looking for answers to questions, and so I got into filming paranormal groups to do, just doing videos for them and trying to get them, doing a bit of promotion, that type of thing. And I was with another group in Lancashire, shall we say Lancashire Hauntings, and they were doing stuff, and I thought, well, I moved to a different part of Bolton called Horwich, and there was somebody there who said to me, would you mind popping down the shop down here? I said, yeah, I don't mind doing that, because I do a bit of community TV as well. So it's more care of the community TV. So I said I'll pop down there, and it was for a psychic supper, and it was thoroughly enjoyable. And so I stayed back from having readings for a bit, and I thought, well, I want to try and keep a balanced mind on it all, but I just couldn't resist. I had to just do it. So I thought, okay, right, I'll do this psychic night, and I'll have a reading done, and I was advised to do an awareness course. And I I thought, oh, hold on. I want to try and keep my objectivity. But with the different people I was having different readings with, the same thing kept coming up. We're being told you've got to do an awareness course. So I did an awareness course, and it's sort of like just opened a whole new area for me. And it's been absolutely fantastic.
Great. And you've decided to do this Battlefield Paranormal?
Yeah, it was a bit of a strange one, this one. It was a bit Wayne's World 2, really. I don't know if you guys have seen Wayne's World 2.
It's been a few
The only
years.
thing that was missing was Jim Morrison and a naked Indian. It was just like, I was talking with Ian. I talked to a friend before about going to a battlefield and doing stuff, and the idea was there. And I talked to Ian Ian Lawrence from over the Rotherham way, and he goes, yeah, the idea of that, it was like, you know that old Tango advert where that orange guy comes up and slaps you in the face?
Yeah.
It was just like that. It was bang, there's the idea. Oh, hold on, what was that? And it was like...
I would so love to do that to somebody.
It was really bizarre that it was all of a sudden this, I'll get a feeling, put it out to other people. I'll put it out, and people said, that sounds like a crazy idea, we like it, we'll get on board. And that's how it grew. So now we've got 16 paranormal teams. We've got some more paranormal teams that are coming along on the night. So, and we've got the general public as well. The other thing is we wanted it free for everybody, because we wanted the paranormal groups to give something back to their followers. So they go, because people who have followed them, they spend money with them, why shouldn't they have a freebie? And this gives them a chance to give them that experience, and also might entice people who don't normally go into it because they're thinking, oh crikey, that's a bit expensive, or that's a bit far to travel, or all the other excuses. It knocks all that down because you're saying it's free. Come along, it's not going to hurt you. So it gives the groups a chance to give back to the people who spend money and pay money to go on there and invest. So
This is it.
Yeah,
it was
and
a weird
as Ian just said, it also gives the teams a chance to work together.
I mean, it's even built this, it's started this radio thing up, hasn't it?
Yeah, well, this is it. And like Steve said, Hauntastic, is that Ian? He said,
It is here.
yeah, he said it gives teams a chance to work together.
Exactly. One of the things you normally hear about is one team moaning about another team.
I know.
And you'll hear it, oh, they do this, they do that. And so nobody thinks, hold on, that team, the teams don't want to work together. And I'm saying, hold on, they can do. And I think they can even support each other.
Yeah.
We're proving that.
This is it.
The most important thing about this whole damn event is that it's showing that teams can work together and support each other.
It's not just that. We can learn from each other because we all do something different.
Well, I think you're sharing ideas. You're sharing lots of other things as well. There might be a technique no one's heard. Another team uses which others don't.
Well, this is it. Yeah. So, and you've got Ian there with his van.
Yeah.
Rent-a-van, as I call it.
Rent-a-van. Yeah.
So, but he's laughing now. So, but if any teams out there wants to rent Ian and his van, he's got loads of gadgets, hasn't he, Paul?
Yep. If they see, the other thing is with it, if they, he's got all the equipment in there. So if you're also wanting to do a technical investigation with all the equipment and stuff, you can do that. And it's not astronomical. I mean, it's cheaper than having a celebrity.
This is it. And you can maybe live stream to your members as well.
Yeah, well, that's it. The other thing is, we can then live stream it on Spooky Radio.
Yes. Yes, Spooky Radio. Where did that come from?
I think that was a case of Ian was doing a show once a week, and always on a Tuesday, and it was getting a few people, and he also used to do like the guy ghost hunts as well. And Ian was both thinking the same thing basically. Ian sort of goes, it's not being utilised really. So the idea was, we got the bricks of the different teams with a thingy, and after the event, the last thing I wanted, the teams sort of splitting up and not talking to each other again. And so this gives a chance for the teams to still work together.
And it's not just us on the radio, is it? There's 2 more shows that I know of, and obviously you're hoping that people will come on and do their own as well.
Well, that's it. What we'd like to have is all UK VJs, all dealing with active within the paranormal world. Not some of the ones that sort of like come on and say, they read a couple of books and watched a couple of episodes of Buffy.
Yeah.
These are people who are in the know. They work with it all the time. So this gives them a chance so they can do their own show like yourselves. The sky's the limit.
This is it. So, and hopefully after the Battlefield Paranormal, the teams that do actually turn up will be friendly after the event as well.
I'm sure that many of the teams will probably keep in contact with each other.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping for, not just one-hit wonders. So, but I'm sure they will, really.
Yeah, but if Ian's having to shoot off, Irish van is brilliant. He's got all the kit for me. He's got all the kit in there. He's got all the K2, all the proper EMF meters, none of the little plastic K2s, and he knows his stuff.
Well, that's good then. So, and as I say, you have got some slots available for other people as well.
Yeah, we've got plenty of slots left.
So what, is there any other plans that you've got coming up?
Oh.
What have you dropped yourself into?
I'm looking at probably next year is doing probably a Paracon UK. A paranormal convention.
Sounds a good idea.
Nothing like it for us. I know here tonight, you've got the Cryptozoologist have a conference. Why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't we have something where we could exchange ideas?
Yeah.
And see new equipment and hear about
Paul,
new
you need to have a word with Nicola.
It'll be a nice change.
Give her a time slot.
We've got to start. I mean, the Americans are ahead of us there.
Yeah.
They're behind us on everything else, paranormal world, but they're ahead of us on the convention scene. We need to be up there.
We do.
Yeah, I think we do. We need somewhere where all the groups can come together and chat with everybody and everything, so get to know each other.
Definitely.
Bickering and stuff, and
yeah.
Okay, we're all working towards the same goal.
We are working for the same goal.
Yeah. Some is more of a business for entertainment.
Yes.
But even then, they might capture something, and if they've got a good idea how to capture it and everything, it's even better for their customers.
Definitely. This is it. Definitely. So, we'll keep up the good work, Paul.
I know. I must be absolutely mental.
Before you go.
Yep.
Yeah. Before you go, Paul, Ian says to say good night to you.
Yep.
And you need to get hold of Nicola and get her working her own show.
Yes. We'll be working on it with thumb screws, and other implements.
Yes, why not?
Yeah.
I'm sure she'll do well, Nicola.
Yeah, she's got that bubbly get up and go about her, isn't she?
Yeah.
Okay then, Paul. Well, thanks very much, and we'll talk to you again.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
All right. Good night, my love.
Go as usual.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, there you go. There's Paul, and he will be knocking around somewhere along the line. Definitely. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go over to Paranormal Events for you. And, well, as I said, we'll redo Nicola's request as well that she asked us to do earlier, which we did. Okay, so here's Paranormal Events for you. Paranormal Events for You is a free advertising site for all your psychic nights, ghost hunts and other related events. Help potential customers finding just what they want without having to wade through other irrelevant activities.
We start this time on the 31st of the 3rd with UK Shadow Seekers. They're going to the Rotunda College in Liverpool. And now for April. On the 7th, Team Green are going to Kelvedon Hatch, and that's in Brentwood. On the 13th, which happens to be a Friday, Is It Haunted? Are going to the Regent Cinema in Leven, and that's in Scotland. On the 14th, UK Shadow Seekers are off to the South Yorkshire Air Museum in Doncaster. On the 21st of the 4th, there's a psychic night at the Park Inn in Harlow. On the 28th, UK Shadow Seekers are off to Bran Castle in Romania, Brasov. I'm informed that there are a few places left. We have to get in there quick. Also on the 28th, Sixth Sense Paranormal are off to Ruthin Jail, Ruthin, North Wales. And that's it for this week.
Paranormal Events for You also offers banner advertising. Add your linked image banner within our site for only £10 per year. See our website at paranormaleventsforyou.com for more details. Yeah, well, that's the Paranormal Events for this week. And remember what it says, if you feel like joining us on Paranormal Events for You, just go in there. It is free. Just remember not to put your prices, just to put your link. And as promised, I'm going to let you know about some tickets that are available for a very worthy cause. Try again. Wigan Paranormal are hosting a night of psychic fun at the Bellingham Hotel on Friday the 13th of April from 6 p.m. till 2 a.m. in aid of Darien House Children's Hospital. The evening includes private readings, Reiki, angel cards, tea leaf reading and tarot. A full demonstration from the wonderful medium Howard Davison between 7:30 and 9 p.m, followed by a hot supper and another chance to have private readings. Then at 11 till 12 there's a ghost hunt within the Bellingham Hotel itself, which is renowned for its many ghosts. You will be placed with a medium and be able to use all their equipment as part of the event. I can hear you. No, you can't, Andy. Sorry, mate. Sorry about that. Tickets are available at £15 for the psychic supper and £22 for the supper and ghost hunt. Available from wiganparanormal.co.uk. The reception of the Bellingham Hall and Nicola Johnson's mobile, if you want to contact Nicola, is 07748 834 753. There are only 20 places for the ghost hunt, so book early. Okay, so if you're in the area, contact Nicola, and I'm sure that she'll be able to find you some tickets. It should be a really good night. I wish you all the best of luck, Nicola, and I hope you raise some good money for a worthy cause. Okay, well, the lines are open. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, give us a call and let us know about your group. So this is your time to shine. Tell us what you're up to, what you're not up to, what you got planned for the future, or where you've been, what experiences you've had. So if you want to give us a call, the lines are open, as I said. It's running along the screen if you've clicked the screen thing to watch. The telephone number is 0844 414 3982. So if you want to give us a call, I'm here at the end of the phone, and you can tell everybody about what you've been up to and what you're doing. So whilst we're waiting, I'm going to tell you about next week. That's if I don't get rudely interrupted. Not that it will be rudely, because we're waiting for calls. Next week, if you tune in, we've got Steve Mehra, who, amongst his other titles, he is the chairman of MAPIT, Manchester's Association of Paranormal Investigation and Training. He's also the founder of SEP, which stands for the Scientific Establishment of Parapsychology, and he's also editor of the online Phenomena magazine. Now Steve will be live in the hub with me and Steve, and he's bringing a guest with him. He hasn't told me who that person is. And you can actually phone in and ask him your questions yourself. He covers a lot of topics within his MAPIT courses, from UFOs and black cats and stuff, and equipment and stuff like that. So there's plenty to ask the guy, and we hope you'll join in and speak to him, because he's coming over just to giving us a bit of time, because he's got a lot to do in the next few weeks, and hopefully you'll come on and find out what he's been up to and what he's going to do and everything. I sounded more nervous tonight than what I did last week, which I'm very sorry about. But as I say, I hope you've enjoyed the show anyway. If you want to continue with the KTPF chat, you can do so over at ktpf.co.uk. And if nobody wants to give us a call and tell us about themselves this week, or what they're doing, Nicola's writing a book for some reason. What are you writing a book about, Nicola? Haunted Wigan. And as a friend said, Sue, it's like a snail on superglue. Haunted Wigan. See, that was a good guess, wasn't it? Nicola from Wigan Paranormal is actually writing a book on Haunted Wigan, so watch out for that. So that should be good. So you'll have to let us know when it's actually published. With my partner in crime, Sarah Carberry.
The history of pies.
A history of pies.
1st of August.
Is that on the 1st of August? Right, okay, well keep us informed. And is that haunted pies, Neil? She will do. So we'll have to have you on the show and tell us about Wigan. What's happening around Wigan. What's your take on Sea Cadets at Wigan? I'd like to know that, because we're there in a few weeks. Never been, so oh, alright then. So anyway, if that's it then and nobody wants to ring in,
What day are we going?
when are we going? 5th of May. Yeah. Don't forget, Paranormal Events for You. It's a free site. Just go on there and put your events on. You don't need to have your prices. Just put your web link on there and they will find out from there. Remember, collaboration, not competition. Okay. KTPF.co.uk. There's a forum there. It's got loads of stuff on it. History, paranormal topics. You've even got Richard Freeman's little bit on there with what he's been up to, and a bit more about the orang pendek. I think that was on there recently. So there's all that. And don't forget, next week with Steve Merra, and you've got to ring up and ask him questions. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you again for listening in, and I hope that you'll be here next week.